Testing, 1 2 1 2 testing. Hello, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me today. This is a 1 hour deep dive into the spiritual world of our sleep and what happens. How are you? Can you hear me loud and clear? Thanks for joining me. Just a yes would be great. Brilliant. Thank you. I'm on day 70, I think 74 now of my detox again with the teas and still coming up, still cleansing and clearing. I spoke to a dear friend of mine who was an alternative practitioner, and he said it's an ongoing thing. There's no end date. And I said, yeah, it's like diets. Just forget it. Don't even think about the diet. Don't think about an end result. Think about long-term. Think about a change in your life. And absolutely the same with spirituality, same with meditation, same with everything that we do. So it's a change of lifestyle, and we keep that going. Okay, so thank you for being here. I just want to big shout out to everybody on here. Jennifer James, how you doing? Reiki Wellness with Juju. I'm dyslexic, so I struggle with sometimes seeing names. And hi, Tanya, Cynthia, Denise, Brendan. How you doing, Brendan? Nice. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Grace. It's lovely to see you all. Thanks for being here today. And anybody new, and if you're watching the rerun right now, hello, welcome. So first of all, if you've never heard of my work, it would be good to give you a little bit of a bio. So at 38 years old, I decided to embark on a new journey of life, which was all organic. I didn't want it, but I couldn't turn it away because it was so beautiful and so powerful, and at the same time so painful. So on that journey, I started learning how to understand the psychic world, the paranormal world, and through not only tarot cards, but through energy and through feelings and through working every day on this particular energetic frequency that most of us don't have time to be in. But I was in it 24/7, and I soon became quite well known in the Costa del Sol for psychic and spiritual readings, and the go-to for help when people were in a distressed place and nobody had the answer. So the doctor may not have the answer, psychologists may not have the answer, and so on. So they came to me normally as a final resort. I had many clients who came to me who were billionaires, millionaires, and very successful and very famous people, and royalty, and so on. I read for many thousands of people, and in those solid 12 to 13 years of reading for all of these beautiful souls, mums and dads, firemen, chefs, you name it, I started compiling in my own memory these understandings of the spirit world being one thing, this understanding of, are we able to see our future in any way? Which of course is 100% true. Of course we can. Do we want to see is the other thing. And if we look towards the final outcome of any situation, is that more important than going through the experience itself? These are the things that I used to ask myself and my clients. Interestingly enough, I had many clients who'd come to me when they had kind of final stages of cancer, all sorts of dis-ease in the body, and a lot of people healed. Lots of people healed miraculously. These were the things that I found fascinating. More than anybody, I was like, wow, this is amazing. So I was learning as I was going along. I'm not one of these people who say I had this from birth, because I believe we all have gifts And I think we all have gifts from birth. I think that's an egoistic way of looking at things. It depends how you say it, of course. Oh, yeah, I used to see things when I was a child. That's different. But there's an ego attached to that sometimes where, you know, I am better than you because I feel more than you and I felt it as a child. One of my family members said to me at the death of my father while the grave was being pulled down, "Oh, so you read cards?" And I'm like, my dad's just died. He's been buried. Are you kidding? Oh, you see, I don't need cards. I have a direct contact with spirit. And I've always had a bad taste for people who say things like that. And I just don't want to know. I don't want to know, because if you know, why would you even say it? Why would you even need to tell somebody that? So from there, I was called to go to certain places. So I might have a very wealthy person, a corporate company that called me to help a situation. If I felt that corporate company was doing it on the strength of truth and love, and there was a real problem, then I would go into the buildings. I would, and not all corporate are bad. Okay, let's get that right. Not all of them. I have an SL company. I'm not bad, but the major companies are very cut from their truth, their love and their understanding, and they're more about ego, again, power and money, and that's all they're bothered about. So I went into many different buildings, just to give you a rundown of my credentials, I guess. And going into these buildings, I used to experience either spirit trapped in between two worlds, heavy energy, and so on. I went to hospitals on a weekly basis where people were either in a coma, moving into the light, something bad had happened to them, and so on. So I've basically been somebody who was around people who were in bad places, whether it was physically, mentally, and emotionally. And mentally, I had many people who were determined mental. And just so you know, on a side note, guys, Sheep Farm on Thursday at 7 o'clock UK time asked me to join a gentleman who also worked in a mental institution and realized that the voices that were in their head were not their own voices, but actually spirit voices. And he wrote a book about it. And Dominic and Chris asked me to join them on the live. So please, if you have time, write this down. Sheep Farm live on YouTube, Thursday at 7 o'clock UK time. You're going to hear a man's perspective or a man's understanding of working in what's called a mental institution, you know, a place where, you know, people hear voices and go crazy and stuff. And he has a different take on it. And he wrote a book about it. So I'm so excited to be there, because I can relate to somebody who understands, because they were there, they were doing the work as I was. So we'll probably have a lot to talk about, and I'll be very excited to listen to what he has to say and to banter from one another and see where we go, how deep we can actually go with this. So that's who I am. That's my credentials. That's as good as I've got. I haven't got any certificates on the wall. I am no doctor. I don't have a PhD. I've got dyslexia and I didn't go to school. And I'm proud of all of those things more than the opposite. So let's go then. Let's make a move on this. First of all, today we're going to deep dive for 1 hour from now. So we're going to finish at 3:10. We're going to deep dive into the understanding of the physical and the spiritual, the physical and the you, the real you. The physical isn't you. It's just part of your journey. So you choose a body and you go into that body. And when you are inside that body, the body, in theory, should listen to what you ask it to do or tell it to do. Okay, so your consciousness is what I call, I guess, prana, chi, your life force. That around you is who you are. And when you die, which you don't die, of course, but when you move out of this body, there's been many occasions that you can see and feel that energy leave. And I have bared witness to this many times. So this is where it becomes very interesting. There is a a dogma of, well, if the spirit is inside the body, is it caged in there? And one of the things, and I have to be careful here if this goes out live, but there is a hub of demonic religious belief that if you want to take control of this world, it's not just about money or food, it's about consciousness. How do you imprison consciousness? Because the demonic world of humanity, and there's a lot, as you can see right now, children are being mentally abused as tiny children in school by a man dressed as a woman, teaching them how to do anal sex. And this, you cannot now say that evil is not in control. It is totally in control now. And humanity is not doing anything about it. They're not standing up. They're not saying anything. Nobody's coming together. So in truth, we have darkness that is now in control of all the spaces where our children are. So this is more about changing the whole of the child's inside, their physical and their mental. And there is something really vital you must know. When we are born with a body temple, which is almost like a genetic blueprint to match the spiritual. So they go like this together perfectly. The moment you sabotage either or, with either fear or with poison, that connection is lost. So fear could also relate to shock. It can relate to abuse. It can relate to many, many emotional things. So soon as you attack either or, you've got a dysfunction in the beautiful design of you and your spacesuit. So we all know that by injecting 20, 50, 80 injections into a baby, you're already beginning the process of hijacking and not only killing the spacesuit, but you're also, by killing the spacesuit, it's easier to control, by the way, because when you kill the spacesuit, you're killing that beautiful connection to the spiritual, so they can't communicate. The more you put fear into a child, the more you abuse a child, the more that child lose. It's a disconnect. They lose it. There's no connection anymore. So they cannot connect to their true self. In a sense, sometimes the power of the body heals again. The emotions and trauma can be healed by healers and love and by fruit and vegetables and herbs. But predominantly, if you keep attacking as this dark entity, this evil that is in control of this world right now, knows that if it constantly has a war against humanity in the way of sharing fear on the screen all day long and scaring the living daylights out of that one singular person, that one person can have a ripple effect on all their children and their animals. That one person, I'll give you a great example. My dad used to come home from work and sit and watch the news. Within 5 minutes, he'd be swearing, getting up, going for a drink, coming back in the room, listening to the news again, telling us all to shut up, not speak. We'd sit there, we had to be quiet, and then he'd get up again, get another drink, and watch the news and get even angry, start screaming at this screen what was happening, and then he'd beat us all. That was a normal nightly pattern of my father. You abuse the rest of the children have no connection. So they realize this. The evil realizes that if it causes chaos by way of showing you the worst it can on breaking news, which is breaking your back, breaking your heart, breaking your spell, all of these things are a deliberate way of sabotaging this beautiful spacesuit to the consciousness. When you have broken the spacesuit is crying out for help. one of two things happen. You either go to the doctors or you go to the psychiatrist. Either way, you're going to be on medication. Win-win situation for the big pharma. So you see how it works. Now, moving on to my particular field of work. When I was in my healing room and I was giving healing sessions to people lying down, as they were falling into REM, deep sleep, I could see sometimes an energy which was around them, and that energy would change frequency. So let's say it was a grey mist, like you see in clouds, a grey mist around the client. Sometimes it would be different colors depending on where they were. But let's say a worst case scenario. The client had come, they were in fear, they were ill, they weren't feeling well. You would give them a healing session and you could see that cloud around them change color and become more vibrant after a healing session. Okay. And that is a way of healing the physical body. The spirit within, even though they were asleep, was still in that physical body. I started noticing on certain people who would meditate, who would be healthy, eating more health than you can imagine. Thoughts and feelings, job, whatever they did was all balanced and happy. So they'd come in with no reason other than just to feel good and feel better, right? So they didn't come in because there was anything wrong with them. So what I noticed about those people was the energy around them would normally have a frequency of color. So it could have been orange, it could have been red, it could have been whatever, purple, different colors, blue. And I used to relate to certain colors. And one of them was a kind of deep purple and one would be a beautiful blue. When I saw that color around that client as I was giving a healing session, why is it I was always drawn to the heart? Reason why is because the brain is in balance. They're not upset, they're not angry, they're not sick. But by giving energy to the heart, by giving love and power to the heart, you're creating a more, let's say, freedom or free feeling of anything is possible. So what I noticed, and I used to write this down, what I noticed with these clients is when they went to sleep, all of a sudden I'd lose the life force. I couldn't see it, the chi, the prana. And I used to get a bit nervous. I actually literally thought, are they dead? They'd be in stillness. There'd be no jerking, no movements, nothing. It'd be just stillness. And I literally go up to them and feel the breath because I was frightened. Are they dead? And no, there was a light breathing taking place. So what I'd do is sit down and just watch. And this would be after a 1 hour healing session. So they'd be fast asleep, but there'd be no energy around them. And then, boom, the energy comes back even 10 times stronger. And I look and thought, oh, I can see the energy again. I thought, oh, am I losing my gift of seeing energy? Did I just not, what's wrong with me? That's what I was questioning myself about. And I did this for about a year until the penny drop moment came. And that came when somebody came up the stairs who was a severe they had severe what was called Alzheimer's, and they weren't there. The bodysuit was just walking up the stairs. I couldn't see energy around them. And like, this is weird. Am I not seeing energy again? So this particular man who lived down the mountain sat down. I used to talk about him all the time because he was the one who used to come quite a lot. And he was an ex-football player for Nottingham Forest. Anyway, his wife brought him and he sat down and I'd start giving him a healing. And I'd always go to the brain. Right? Why? Why am I not at the heart? I'm at the brain. I'm working on the brain for 1 hour. Then all of a sudden, boom, there's energy around, right? And then he looks at his wife and then they start talking. And like, she'd ring me back the next day. I had him for a day, Mark. I had him for a day. I had him for the day. I had him for 1 day. Do you understand what that means? It means that he wasn't there. And now, after a healing session, he came back. So the question is then, as I started working, where do we go? What happens? So then I started doing more of this work of delving into understanding where the client goes. So for the next 7, maybe 8 years, the clients who came with this unusual frequency, which was colored, normally blue. Blue means freedom. It means you can fly free. Purple, normally a high frequency that you can connect to the spirit world. So they used to go to sleep, and then after the healing session on their heart, they'd wake up, never the head, always the heart. They'd wake up and they'd start sharing stories that they saw their grandmother, or that I don't know where I was, but I was somewhere else doing something. They used to tell me stories like this, so I'd write them down. I mean, honestly, it was like I'd write certain stories down which were fascinating, that I will one day write a book. I'm sure I will, about this. And some of these stories were totally incredible. So I realized that the physical body, if it's in good health and balance, leaves the body temple in a healing session. And then I thought, well, maybe it's not a healing session. So what I did to one of my clients, who I said, I'm going to do something different today. Do you mind? And she said, do what you want, Mark, please. And I said, okay, great energy. She lied down. I placed about 4 crystals around her, and I left the room, and I came back after an hour. I came back, she woke up. She told me about this amazing place that she went to. She talked about seeing members of family, also seeing other people that she didn't know. They were all around her, talking to her. It was the most amazing dream, okay? And she said it felt real. And I said, well, come back tomorrow if you want, or the next day, and come and have another healing session, because this healing session, I actually never healed you. I just put some crystals around you, and I just wanted to check something out. So she was like, oh, well, it was amazing. And she came back the next day, and we did the same thing. And this time I gave her a healing session. But the interesting thing that I was trying to understand was, if I wasn't in the room, and maybe there's some crystals around her, maybe there wasn't, it doesn't matter. I think there was a few, but it wasn't a big deal. I wanted to know that when she fell asleep without a healer, is it possible that we actually leave our body? I couldn't have picked a more beautiful woman who was very, very she practiced what she preached. She didn't lie. She helped people. She had a great energy, very balanced, very powerful soul. Lovely lady, lovely story. She's got a lovely story to tell. So I went home. First of all, went to my tree, sat down, thought about it, and thought, it must mean that we can actually leave this physical body and come back again. And maybe we do it when we're asleep. Maybe we all do it when we're asleep. But then the more I learned about it, the more I realized that if you're taking drugs, it doesn't happen so much, especially if it's pharmaceutical drugs. It doesn't happen. Sometimes if you can take drugs, and what happens is you can slightly elevate out of the physical and see yourself and come back in again. Sometimes, but not always. But definitely, I've never seen a pattern of people heavy on medication leave their body in a sense that they've left it in the most natural way and come back. So that was one thing. Sickness. When you're sick, when you're really ill, meaning that you're feeling physical pain, it's very difficult to leave the body, because your body's trying to heal, and your spiritual is also trying to help heal it. I'll give you an example here. One example is that I noticed that when you leave the physical body, if you're doing meditation, which that can happen and does happen very often, when you're in a good place, this is an easy process. And there's 2 things that happen. The physical body starts to heal properly when you leave the body. It can physically start healing itself, but it's harder than when your physical body and your spirit is inside it, and vice versa. I have to get this right and say it properly. So I wrote it down because it was like I wrote it down here. It said, so what I wrote down here was, what happens to the body? It repairs by electrically charging. When in meditation, then and only then can you self-heal. And when you are sorry, I shouldn't speak about that just yet. Sorry, let me go back to this. I'm out of my flow. Let me try and repeat, because it's so complicated. I don't want to get this wrong, because you then say, oh my God, it doesn't make any sense, and it might not make sense, but let me try again. When we are in physical pain because we've got illness in our body needs to heal for the real and true consciousness to leave and come back again. That's the base of everything. So what I was saying at the beginning, that they know that if they can make you sick, they can trap you in the body. They can make you ill. And I wrote down some of the things that I found. Mind confusion. If you're in confusion when you're trying to sleep and you fall asleep, that mind confusion can cause a trap inside for your spiritual self to leave. Medication, vax, fear, grief, physical pain. These are key points to know that if we can clear all of them out of the body, and we are in healing, we're in a healing mode, then when we leave, the body then starts to properly heal itself. So here, this is where I was confused, and now I'm coming back to it. When we come back to the physical body, if our body is actually working on fixing all the electric parts of the physical body, it's fixing everything, the fear's gone, you're all in balance, what happens is this: when your spirit comes back in, you then have the memory, of your consciousness, because you're more connected to the consciousness, because your physical body is in perfect balance. If you are sick and ill, right, it's hard for you to remember when you left. So it's a scale of 1 to 10. When is the spirit able to leave the body? Well, I'd already said that the guy had Alzheimer's. What is that? A sickness? Could be. And he still left his body and then came back again. So it's not set in stone that you can't leave the body. But what I'm saying is that what I found is that the darkness, the evil, the corrupt world knows that if you can hijack the physical body, there is definitely something in this that your spirit cannot connect or cannot leave in the same way freely to do what it's meant to do. That is an overall understanding. So where do we go when we are in good shape, in health, good health? What happens when we go? There is worlds within worlds that I've realized that after my clients woke up, shared with me. So one could easily be the world that we are in now. So this physical world could be that. It happens to me a lot. And why is it I'm always in children's playgrounds? Probably because I was bullied all my life. So when I fall asleep, I'm normally in a child's playground trying to help a child who's being bullied by somebody, or trying to fix the problem in the playground, meaning that my soul, my spirit goes and gently tries to nudge or help the bully from being a bully, trying to make things right, trying to heal and help, not being a teacher, but just trying to help. So them little whispers in the playground, when you start to feel bad because somebody's bullying you, the spirit world's talking to you, helping you. And that spirit world is your consciousness. You are the spirit. You are part of the spirit world. It may be a different dimension. It may be a different veil, but we're still spirits coming from the spirit world. We visit family a lot. Now, who are your family? That's a great question, because one lady who used to come to me from Vietnam, she used to keep telling me that every time she falls asleep, and she was in great health, very powerful, she kept meeting this one woman all the time. And I said, who is the woman then? She said, I don't know, but I keep seeing this woman and we keep talking. And I said, well, why don't you try and ask her? And I said, but just on a side note, if I was to say to you, is this woman your enemy? No. Is this woman like your sister? Yeah. I said, maybe that's your sister then. Maybe it's your sister from the spirit world. So that was interesting. I've read for many people who have contacted their family as soon as they've fallen asleep and come back and said, I was talking to my grandma. So that's another thing. And then you've got this, which I believe I've done many times as well. And that is, and I'm sure you guys have, that the world within world is called trap spirit. I don't really associate it with words of the, let's say, religion, which is purgatory, because I think that's a lie and that's deliberately put there to scare the crap out of people. I do believe that we can get trapped in between two worlds, and sometimes them two worlds manifest as ghosts, apparitions. They are not of the spirit world. They vibrate at a different frequency. So when your family and spirit come, they come with love, they come with smell, they come with just gorgeous feelings. When it's a spirit trapped in between two worlds, it's a different frequency. So if I've gone into a house, I can feel whether it's your loved one or if it's spirit trapped in between two worlds. On a side note, if you sage that house, the spirit in between two worlds have gone, but your family and spirit come forward much easier. Fascinating stuff. When we are fully healthy and strong, our thoughts are sometimes a memory of our travels when we're asleep or when we're doing our meditation, and we go deep into meditation, into what's called absent healing, or just leaving the body. There's lots of names for it. Lots of people try the out of body experience stuff. I don't try. I've never tried out of body experience, yet it's happened to me lots of times. When I tried to do it, I couldn't. So I just wait. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But I normally know that when I sleep, I know when I've left my body. And depends on how far and how much work I've done is how quickly I wake up. So if I wake up very quickly, it means I've not gone far. If I wake up and it takes me ages, it means I've done some hard work in the spirit world or anywhere I want to be. Other question, when you leave, can you go into the spirit world? Now, this was where it goes deep. Is your spirit consciousness the same consciousness as spirit in the spirit world? It is not. It's still connected to the physical body. So there isn't that full separation. So can I go into the spirit world, into that drop of ocean? You can be an observer of it. You can see it, but you can't be part of it. That's my feeling. But you can observe it. You can be around it, but you're not part of it. You can come into the house, but you're only a guest for a short time. That's how I saw it, and so did my clients as well. Certainly by those who say that they passed away and then came back into the body again was a different feeling. And one of the feelings that I noticed, what they used to say, is that it felt like I was my mum, I was my grandma, I was my brother, I was my animal, that I was one with them. So what my thought was their thought. I felt them and they were there. It was like, but when you travel, it's like, I saw a face. I saw my grandma. I felt, so it was, you speak in a different way. And I'm like, you're speaking differently. You're actually saying it. Anyway, it's a little bit too deep. Maybe I shouldn't go too deep. So it says here, if our consciousness flies free, when we return, if we don't have a spirit temple connection, it's hard to recall. But can confuse this by waking up and believing we had the experience. Yeah. again, that's a little bit, I shouldn't write things down because I'm crap at writing and it's not who I am. I try and put bullet points. As soon as I start writing stuff down, I confuse everything. So a dream can be a dream in a way that the memory of past that comes up again from your spirit can confuse the brain, and then you try and work it out, and it's hard to work out. It's confusing. That's why when people say to me, I had a dream, can you tell me what it means? I have no idea what your dream means, because I don't know whether it's your brain trying to deprogram all the crap that you've been through that day, all your thoughts and feelings that you've seen through the black screen, or was it really a connection to the spirit world because you've left the physical body from your from the moment you've left and done what you've done and then come back again. So this is a book in itself. So one, we must learn to eat the correct food, which is fruit and vegetables, which electrifies the body, which then allows the spacesuit to work and function properly so that we get a good night's sleep, because we can actually leave the physical body while the spacesuit is repairing, revitalizing, re-energizing, and the spirit is going to do what it does and then comes back and hey ho, everybody's happy. When you are trapped in the spacesuit, which is no problem, it's not a big deal. You're not really trapped. You're just, it's part of the spacesuit. But when you are in there and you can't leave the physical body because the physical body is not in balance, it's not able to open up the heart to be able to allow you to fly free, then I guess it's a bit like sat there, what am I doing? You know, waiting for you to wake up so we can continue this experience. But I don't like to say it like that, because then you think, oh, but I think one of the reasons why I was guided to talk about health, I was guided to say you can't heal unless you have a body free from fear. All of these things relate back to the spiritual being able to leave the body. Because everything that I have shared and taught is one step closer for your spirit to be able to connect to the physical brain and to be able to leave and come back again and do its work. Why do we leave the physical body? We leave the physical body because this world is yin and yang, light and dark, good and bad, evil and love. And you need the balance. If you can trap the spirit inside the body, the soul inside there, then the only thing you can do through the day when you're awake is do your best to help this world. But when you're asleep, and if your physical body's in good health, your spirit, your soul can go and start to help and heal the world. And that's why I say to people when they scratch their heads and say, I don't know what I'm doing on this world, I feel as if I've just wasted all my time. And I smile and say, you'd be surprised how much work you do when you're asleep. And people used to look at me as if I was crazy. But people are now starting to talk about this more because of evil, because they realize that evil is trying to trap the soul. They realize that all these years' work of people who believed that they were doing it for the good of mankind, but actually were doing it for the darkness, and then realized that the darkness was very interested, those who were manipulating humanity, who wanted to enslave humanity, who wanted to bring more darkness into the world and fear and trauma and satanic ritual. They realize that the best way is to traumatize children. You traumatize the child and their spirit cannot leave that physical body. So the best way for the darkness to change the world into darkness so nobody will do anything and say anything is to confuse, is to give negativity every day, to give fear and to give sickness and to give confusion into a physical spacesuit. You sabotage that spacesuit and nobody at school, nobody at home is going to walk into a school and say, take that man dressed in a woman's clothes out of this school right now, or I'll call the police. No. Because they're confused, because they will not connect, because they've not got no power, All they think about is greed, fear in themselves, trying to hold their job and dare not say anything because of ridicule, because there is no connection with their true soul. And all they are is in their brain, repeating, regurgitating what the program is. That's why teachers, a lot of them, just keep repeating the program. It's not their fault. They're just repeating the program. So whatever they're told on a piece of paper, they'll repeat, but they won't feel, because they can't, because they've been injected, because they're eating poisons all day, because we're being sprayed upon all day, because we're listening to the propaganda all day, the lies, the manipulations. That's how it works. And CERN is the hub of all that is. They pretend to be there for the good of humanity. They are the science. They are learning all about God particle. No, they're not there doing that at all. They're all compartmentalized, and all of them know not what they're doing. And I used to read for many of the scientists, at least 4 of the scientists who used to work there. So I know what happens in there to a degree, and it's not good, and it's all connected. You look at CERN, you look at their opening ceremonies, it's all satanic. Everything is satanic. It's all based around satanic. Now, you'll even see godlike figures. They use the love of the world and change it into darkness. So it's very, very clever how it all works. It's very clever. Shiva's at the front gate, the front doors of CERN. You know, this is the god of suppression, of war, right? Yeah. Why would you even do that? Well, you would do it if you know what they're doing. They're trying to create not only the God particle, but they're trying to understand the spirit and the soul. And they know that if they can hijack the soul, if they can entrap the soul, which they want to do, then they've got a spacesuit working perfectly how they want it to do. The world, they want the world to be AI, and that's why they're pushing to destroy children, to put fear into them, to bring forward new chips that go into the brain that then change you from being somebody who is connected to their beautiful soul to somebody who has no connection to the soul, who doesn't believe in the soul, who doesn't believe in their intuition, who doesn't believe in their psychic ability, who push all that to one side and say AI is far more better because I know everything in an instant. See where it's going? Okay. Take a breath. Was that a lot to digest? So I can talk about this all day. Any questions now, please ask me a question now. I'll start from where it says Tracy D. I asked this before. I'm curious about causing harm nonsense. Where is it? Where did you? Okay, it's going up so fast. I asked this before about Baptist Christ. The ceremonies. Yeah, it's very interesting, these ceremonies. They really are. I can't really say. I don't know. I can't really say. They're just interesting, eh? Do I think they're I don't know, because I've met priests who really, really believe in God and really, really believe that they're doing good. I watched something on that Netflix a while ago, and it was about a girl who was channeling some entity, and everything it was saying was so right. It would say everything right. It would do everything right, and it would heal people and do everything. And then everybody prayed to this one girl, thinking that she was Mary Magdalene or somebody like that, channeling Mary Magdalene. And they had like this sit down. And everybody sat down looking at her, and she's telling everybody to surrender themselves, to give themselves up, and pray to this person that she was saying, and give yourself up to this person. And all the while, this person was the devil. So who knows really whether they believe that they're working for the devil or not? Who knows? The one thing I do know is that I've been to church, and sometimes I felt the most awful energy. I've been to the Vatican. Boy, is that heavy shit. And you can feel the children underneath. You can feel the torture, the trauma underneath your feet. I'm not going to go into detail, but I'm telling you, not good. So do I believe in that? No, I don't. Okay, so I think I've gone way too fast. Yes, breathe. Yeah. Would you? What does that say? Would you? No, not at all. Why would you get bored of causing harm if you are of that energy? That's your life. That's your God. That's your Bible, so to speak. I've met somebody once who shared something with me that frightened me to death. Frightened me to death. We call them Illuminati. They're not Illuminati. They're born of this world and they've been here for a long time. And their sole purpose is to cause illness, sickness, disease, culling. Why? Because they believe it's for the good of this world. They actually believe it's for the good. Think about that. Every time you wonder why bad things are happening, they literally believe that they do this for the good. And they have to tell us. It's absolutely true. They have to tell us in one way or another, whether it's through Netflix, whether it's through Disney, they have to tell us. So it's always there to be seen. That's why, I know this is going to sound really stupid, but there's something called South Park, and this is another way that they get it through. And then when you hear this say, "Oh, the scripts are written by good people," no, I'm sorry, this is far too coincidental that they know everything that's happening, who's going to be the president, who, all the things that have happened. They already know because they have to put it out there. So, yeah, you can't convince me of anything different. I think they're trying to program parents. Of course, they are. They've been trying to do that for millennia. Mark, it's all amazing. Oh, thanks, Alan. I maybe sometimes I speak and then think, do you actually understand what I'm saying? Do I make sense? Because I'm dyslexic, sometimes I speak so fast and get tongue twist, but I know what I'm trying to say. That's why normally I have Layla Sati at the side of me, waiting to say, oh, he meant this. She's not here today. Very helpful, Mark. Love these lives. Thank you. Spot on, Mark. I'm glad. I don't mind if somebody says that they don't understand or they think it's bullshit. I don't mind that so much, and I'll explain something. Please don't be frightened of saying, well, that doesn't make any sense, because then I can go into more depth, because I'm not frightened of speaking about this subject, because I've got nothing to fear, because I understand a lot of it. So I don't mind talking about it. That's why I'm looking forward to Thursday, talking to somebody who's actually worked in a mental institution. I hate that word, but in a place where people start hearing voices. He worked there as a psychologist, and he wrote a book. So this is going to be really interesting. So please join us on Thursday, Sheep Farm, but it's Sheep Farm YouTube live, 7:00. You are so right, Mark. I did a lot of research in CERN, so did I, many years ago, when my first wonderful lady who came to me, who told me all about it. And I said, how do you know all about this? And she says, because I work there. And so then I looked more into depth. She told me to. She even knew. So people even work there know something's going on, but you won't hear that. Why? Because they'll lose their job. That's how I got into these things, because I was told by, literally from the horse's mouth. What I've learned through my readings of my clients would blow you away. I could write 100 books about stuff that had jaw drop, which I can't talk about. There's certain things I cannot talk about, There really is. I've got a family, You got to be careful when you talk truth. I only give people breadcrumbs so that you can then look into it in more detail. The God particle, black matter, and HARP. HARP is connected to the industrial complex. So is DARPA. All of those companies are all one. They sit under one. It used to be all roads lead to the Vatican. Now it's CERN. And that's why the world is going to be one world religion. That's why all the religions came together a couple of years ago and signed a treaty, a declaration saying that there's going to be one religion. They've been planning this forever. They're trying to make everything one. so then they control the whole of the world. Doesn't it make sense? You have one food company, it controls the world. You have one whatever, it controls the world. That's how it works. You can't then argue. It depends on the priest and the church. Absolutely. I have been into churches all over the world. Why? Because I wanted to feel the energy, understand it. Orthodox churches in Serbia, I love, and I have a connection with one particular saint on the wall. Like, I think I know this man. Like, so it's not like it's all evil. It's been taken over and hijacked many, many thousands of years ago. But there's always good. If you get something good, bad always comes in. Every time you start something up that's beautiful, you're always going to get one scallywag ruining it. So humanity is its own implosion. Humanity, the world, is its own internal combustion. We'll blow ourselves up. That's my fear. Mark, what do you think about people who don't remember their dreams when they wake up the next morning? Like I said, this has got a lot to do with the thinking mind, right? Why is it that when you are more healthy, when you eat electric fruits, right? When you meditate, when you do all the right things and you really have a healthy body, sometimes you can wake up and like remember everything, but sometimes you don't. It's not like, okay, if you do this every day, you'll remember every day. I think there's something about the electrical circuit within the spacesuit that allows the consciousness to download what you've just experienced. And if there's a sever, this happens. So depending on what kicks it in. So if you just want to know what your mind starts to try and figure out through the night, not through leaving the body, but the mind is trying to deprogram all what it's been through the next day. If you want to connect to understand that deprogramming, eat cheese, because cheese has some kind of, I don't know, natural something that makes the body remember or helps you remember or helps you feel what the brain is untangling through the night. That's why people say if you eat cheese, you have loads of nightmares or dreams or stuff like that. They're not going out of your body. That's the brain. That's your brain connecting to the unprogramming that night. So I guess what I was trying to say is that when people say that, what am I doing here? What's the point? I say, God, we need you here because you don't realize that you're able to leave your body and help people in this world, spirit trapped in between two worlds, and also the universe, the cosmos, the other places where there are. That's another story. Okay. It is evil, 100%. And when people try and convince you it's not, the devil is good. No, it depends. If you hold a cross, you can hold it in a way that you can go out and kill people, right? For my God, I'm going to kill people. Or you can hold it with love. A lot of these people who pray to the devil, a lot of them who you don't know about, you just see, you scratch the surface of a few people on the internet saying, oh, they wear these black clothes and pretend to be something special. And he is a Satanism and all this. They're nothing. They're just fools. They're just jokers. They haven't got a clue of anything. What I'm talking about are the ones who nobody knows about. They're in the dark. They're the ones who are creating all of the evil right now, not the silly little puppets who are pretending to be the evil ones who support Satanism. They just forget it. Don't even bother wasting your energy. You'll never know the ones who we're talking about. But you've got to understand that they're there, and you've got to work against them. My neighbor asked me if I was having a fight with someone, if they only knew. Okay, I don't know what it means. I don't like any Religion. No, I'm not into religion whatsoever. Thank you, Mark. You're welcome. She's banned. No, never gets. It'll never get banned. Never, never. Satan is always here. Light and dark is always here. The best we can hope for is to shine a light over it, so it becomes so visible that people understand it and say, okay, I don't go near that. It's not good. It's not healthy. That's it. And walk away. The problem is they're trying to make Satanism, evil, the new God, the new love, the new power. That's what they're trying to do. No, you're right. You said it there. You don't think it's possible. I don't think it is possible. It's not meant to be possible. The unholy. I think that's what it was. I think that's what it was called. Maybe, yeah, I wouldn't even bother watching it because it's awful. And the talismans that they talk about, opening stuff and things like that, that's another way of scaring people into the belief of something has power, and it doesn't. They talked about, is it King Tutankhamun, when the tomb was open and everybody mysteriously died in this and that. Don Tolman talks about this because his work, when he was full-time working doing it, talking about how to read hieroglyphics in the correct way, because most people have no idea how to read them at all, because it comes at a three-dimensional way, and most people have no clue on how to read them. So that was interesting. But then he told us about this air, because we spoke about air, and I don't know if you understand, but there is such thing as dead air. So when that tomb was open, people breathed in dead air, and dead air can have issue. It can cause issue to the body. That's why up on my ceiling in my house and anywhere I am, I have a fan. Fan circulates energy. The greatest thing you can have in your house is a fan, because the anions, it generates new life and it clears the old air. Because if you breathe in old air all the time, you can get sick, and it's true. So that's a side note. Look into it if you think I'm talking porkies. I just got Silicon Valley and we have some vivid dreams. Silicon Valley is a natural, it's a man-made, but after the process, it bubbles up, and we take that, and there's a lot of processes in natural metals and stuff like that that have a great energy that does definitely help with dreams. There's a lot of crystals that can help with a connection with dreams as well. So look into it. Just go to if you go to my website, markbajerski.com, just for a reference, there's a search bar. In the search bar, type dreams or vivid dreams, and look at all the crystals that actually help promote dreams. It's really fascinating. I wouldn't eat cheese because I don't like dairy, but you can have crystals that promote that. When you're doing healing sessions, if you lay a crystal on the third eye when somebody's asleep, like MOLDAVITE, like there's some amazing crystals. I mean, amethyst is beautiful, depending on what you want to target as well. The frequency of a crystal targets a certain frequency of what you're going to connect to. So that's fascinating, right? One crystal I really like to work with right now, it's of a place in America, and it's called Mount Shasta. Now, it's really hard to find this crystal. I've even got one of our pure energy healers lives on Mount Shasta, and I think she doesn't even know where to get them. So where it's dug from in Mount Shasta, I'm not sure, but I was lucky enough to get some, and I've been working on that and putting it on while I'm sleeping, and I get some amazing results. On a side note, I hope I'm not missing anybody out. Agreed. You can feel the bad energy even in the church. Some churches, and yet some churches, when nobody's in there, I've walked into some churches around the world and stood by that place where you would sacrifice animals, which they don't anymore, but they call it an altar. Altar was basically there to sacrifice animals and babies. What they try and do is they find the most perfect frequency of Mother Earth and the universe. So you'll always find that if there's above you, if there's a dome, in the center of that dome, or at a church, look on the floor, see if there's an X. If there's an X there, that is where the alignment of Mother Earth, which some people call ley lines, with the astrology above, and sometimes it's where the sacrifice is, because every time they do confession and all, that's a sacrifice, right? Because you're eating the body of somebody and you're drinking the blood of somebody. Except they can't do that now. Well, they don't do it during the day, but a lot of them do it during the night downstairs, and that's a fact. A lot of churches downstairs is where they do the raping of the children and all the stuff. This is all true, but people won't talk about it. Well, if you've had the shot, you need to do is keep managing your body, keep looking. Like if I had the shot, right, because I really believed it, right? I had the shot and found out, hey, it wasn't good. I would spend my life, number one, finding out ways of clearing it out of my body. And there's always got to be a way at some point that will be cleared out. At the moment, it's managing. Nobody that I know right now has said we can get rid of all of this technology, all the chips out of your body. I think it's going to be hard getting that out of your body. I don't think it's going to be easy. Also, the rest of the stuff that's been thrown in there. So you can only manage your body, clear it every day, work on meditation, vibrate yourself to a higher frequency. You've got to put your hand on your heart, put a lot of effort into your heart and mind. So these two places are where I'd be working most of all. Go for healing sessions, go for colonics, go for anything to do with, what does Dom do? Dom has a place in the UK called Health Bunker. And Health Bunker do a lot of stuff with cleansing and clearing and purifying. It gets mocked and ridiculed all the time. But you know what? I think there's definitely something in what they do, which is the ozone treatments and all the vitamin C treatments direct into the body. It's healing the body. Everything like that will help. Massages, again, yoga, meditation, and 100% number one, eat natural, organic fruits. Fruits are the electric that will strengthen the body and the immune system. Fruits. We are fruitarians. I don't care what you say. We're fruitarians. Do we look like chickens? No, we don't. Do we look like horses? No, we don't. Do we look like birds? No, we don't. What's the closest thing what we look like? Monkeys? Gorillas? They eat fruit. We're closest to them. Our digestion should be fruit. More fruit. Fruit. Why? Because it's electric and it electrifies our body. And you don't get sick on fruit. Oh, yes, you do. Too much sugar. Wrong. A lie created by pharmaceutical industry. No, that is a lie. It's a 100% lie to make you take more medication. Fruit, when you digest it, is broken down into energy. When you have refined sugar, it is not broken down into energy. It's a quick fix lie that goes to the brain, and then 15 minutes later, you're craving for it again. You don't crave fruit. You want fruit from love and health and healing. You crave chocolate and sugar because you're down and you're not feeling happy and you're addicted. There's a difference. Okay, mum refused to walk. Okay, keep it next to the bed at night. Yeah, good for you. I keep my crystals next to my bed. Right now I've got on this beauty. This is pink opal. Love it. Been working with that today. Love it. I don't want to make it too dark and too satanic and all that, guys, you know. But you just, as long as you know where you are and not to fall for something. You've heard the saying, you've got to stand for something or else you'll fall for everything, right? Yeah, wow, that's a deep question. How can I explain why we are all in the world at a certain place at a certain time? The only thing that I've learned as a healer is that if I choose to come in this world, by the grace of God go I, as somebody who's in LA living underneath a tarpaulin with a shopping basket with everything that I've got in there, shooting myself up with drugs. That is my experience at that moment. Will my experience be any different from the experience I've got now? No, not at all. We experience the same things, just in different ways. Oh, my pain is more than yours. I could live in India as a little boy who just scrambles for food, for a bowl of rice. Is my experience any more different than mine? No, we both experience pain and suffering in the same way. One pain and one suffering isn't any different. We all feel pain the same way. That's why we shouldn't laugh at somebody and say, you don't know how lucky you've got everything. Their pain is still the same pain, right? The person actually who's living in India who has a bowl of food is more happy and thankful that they got a bowl of food that day than somebody who eats a beautiful meal every day and not even thankful for it. Yeah, tell me now who's the one who's lucky. So I think we choose our body. We choose the place we want to live. We choose what we want to experience. And each of us come here with the same energy, but darkness knows how to try and sabotage it. And it has. It's sabotaged it for centuries. What is your opinion on PTSD and nightmares? What's PTSD? Is that post? No, I don't know. I know what nightmares normally are. Nightmares to me is normally fear that we have within ourselves that we can't see the future and we can't see or we have an answer for. So we might watch something on TV that we saw and it's tremendously upsetting. And then we have nightmares at night. We can't actually come up with a solution to fix it. We saw the trauma, we saw the damage, we heard it, we read something and it was traumatic. That's why I always say, don't watch scary movies because your physical body is going to suffer. So now we should be watching everything joyful and happy because we can see that it's not helping us if we're watching bad stuff. And that is exactly why evil is putting everything on Netflix and Disney. Look at some of the Disney horrible stuff that they're putting out there now. I mean, for God's sake, this is Disney. Wasn't Disney meant for children to make them happy? Yeah, Monsters Inc. That really made us happy. Yeah, just scare the living shit out of a child and then suck it dry and put it into a bottle. Come on, guys. This is all evil. This is what they do. They feed from fear. These Monsters Inc. was just another way of a telegram to tell us what they're doing. And when they tell us what they're doing, they can do it. That's how their religion works. I am the light. Well, of course you are. CERN has good and bad in there. You've just got to discern the difference and know. Okay. Wow, there's a lot of questions. Thanks for joining me, guys. I can't believe how many is on. There's over 200 people. Thank you for joining me today. Yeah, scary movies are bad. Absolutely. They're not good. And yet, humanity's addicted to it. And the worse the movie is, the more happier they are. Work that one out. There's some brutal stuff. It's brutal. It's brutal. Do you think... I'm going to press on that and see what happens. Okay. Do you think that... Oh, that's cool. Do you think that maybe darkness can put obstacles in our way to stop us from doing good? Well, I think that's what I've been talking about. I think that's what I've been trying to explain. All of the things that I talk about is darkness. You're probably thinking of... you're literally saying evil comes to do bad things. It's like evil can only come to do bad things when you are open to evil to come and do bad things. I always find that people create their own evil because, oh, that's an external entity. No, it's not. You created it. You brought evil into it. You started. You did it. You created it. How do you create it? Well, TV. It's already giving you the little bit of evil. They're showing you the fear. They're showing the hatred, the anger. It's now building up. So now you're putting it into yourself. You're opening yourself up to evil. You're opening yourself up. I keep trying different ways to start my healing clinic and I keep getting blocked. You will do. You will do. You will do. That's the whole point. Darkness always is fearful of anything that is positive. That's why if anything is positive, darkness infiltrates it by buying it out, by sending authority to shut it down. That's how it works. So for me, this is my understanding, right? I lived in this village now over 20 years. When I came here, the first 3 years were the hardest. I could have left and gone back home, but I didn't. And I saw many people over the years leave and go who could have been very successful, who could have loved it, had an amazing life and done great things, but they didn't. Why? Because the darkness, evil, stopped them. So you've got to push through that. You've got to keep fighting in the sense of climbing that mountain till you get there. Nothing else matters. And I'm not interested in the blocks. I'm going to keep going, keep going, keep going. And I could have stopped loads of times, but I didn't. So it's up to you. And only 1% get through, get to the top of that mountain. Only 1%. Most people throw the cards in and say, I'm not doing it no more. And that's fine. It's okay. At least you tried. Sure. Yes. But if one gets a scary, very scary true vision, it was scary, but I think it was real. As soon as I got my Moldavite. Moldavite is different now. You're talking about using external things. Once you start bringing something external in like a Moldavite, then that's what's going to happen. You're going to start feeling like I just said, if you eat some cheese, sometimes you can have, you can start having nightmares or remembering your dreams and stuff. Moldavite is a frequency that has an energy wave that hits you in your pineal gland, your alpha mode. And what happens is you start to connect to the very frequency of Moldavite. Moldavite has a memory in it. That memory is of another world, and that's why you can connect to that other world. You can feel bits of it, and it can start to show you things, and then you can start to feel things, and it starts to awaken certain parts of the physical. And it's incredible. The pineal gland opening is one of the most incredible things in the world. So yeah, I'm in agreements. All good things, Anna. All good things. Brilliant. Good for you. It doesn't. I mean, this is the balance of life. The balance of life to me is this. If something is worth knowing for my health and well-being, I will watch it even though it's difficult. But if you're watching something for entertainment and it's nasty because you're not going to get anything out of it, then don't do that. Don't abuse yourself with with Netflix. Don't abuse yourself with Disney. Yeah, Moldavite is really interesting. Yeah, well done. Okay, I'll just tap on some stuff. Yeah, that's right. It does. The root cause of insomnia is normally really heavy trapped trauma of past. And any kind of trauma, like I said, if you don't have, if your body is free from fear, if you've got trapped trauma issues from your past that you haven't resolved, then a lot of people can't sleep and they won't face it and they won't admit it. They won't admit it to themselves. They're in denial. Most people are in denial who have got insomnia. And I was in denial for 38 years, and then I brought it all out. I love my dad, even though he abused me. I love Barry, who beat me up nearly every day at school. I love him because I found out why they did it, and it wasn't personal. When you realize that these people don't mean to do it because they want to do it to you, it's just that they can't help themselves because they're abused and they were abused, right? Or whatever they were going through in their life. So, okay, I forgive you because I know why you did it. And I feel better now because it's not because of me. But most people live in, oh, poor me. They did it to me, and it's like you just hurt yourself. Just let it go. Forgive, let go. You'll be able to sleep much better. It's true, honestly. You sleep much better if you forgive. Bad things happen to good people because good people are powerful and warriors are, and they're here to learn and understand the feeling of the experience that they're going through, that they created before they came into this world. Once you go back home, then you go back into the sea of this beautiful ocean with that experience, which then raises the frequency of that ocean to understanding more. And I think that the whole point of life is this sea of knowledge and experience, or else what's the point of anything? So yeah, my experiences were horrible. My family had gone through my family's gone through the worst experiences you can imagine, right? But what they then put back in the pot from experience and knowledge, what they've learned and understand and felt, is phenomenal. I mean, you come here, you learn nothing. You come here and you're happy and you're joyful, and you haven't been pain and suffering. You go back to the pot of love, and what do you put in there? Well, not much really. Happy, joy, yeah, that's okay. That's love. But the pain is where you really understand life and experience and grow. There are 12 levels, in my humble opinion, of any soul that lives on this earth from the moment they're born till their last breath. And those 12 levels are a level of different frequencies of experience. And sometimes I used to be able to feel people's level, so I could see it and then put a number to it and say, you're about 8. So you've got another, 4 more to go. What does that mean? Well, you might come back 4 more times because you haven't learned this, you haven't learned that. And the experience doesn't necessarily mean cancer. It could mean that the pain and suffering that you go through in the physical. It could mean the emotional. It could mean the brutal pain of being killed or being some. We choose it, but we don't understand this here. It's not a concept that could ever be understood, because why me? Why could that be me? Why would that be? Why would I want that? Why would I want to see my daughter go through what she went through? Why would I want to see, lose my 2 children to a plane crash? Why would I want to? It's awful. When you move into the light, and as many people did when I was with them, they always used to say, now I understand. The words were, now I see, now I understand. There's always a smile on their face. It's never anger. It's never upset. It's just like, it's a revelation that is so profound that there are no words. Everything is as it should be. I don't believe in karma. I just don't believe in that word. It's used, it's abused. They're going to get their karma. Not good. So that somebody once said this wonderful thing, how somebody treats me is their karma. How I react back is my karma. That's as close to karma as I want to be. But I don't believe in karma. I just believe that all experiences are there for a reason. And my worst enemy is my best friend in the spirit world. But I'm mocked and ridiculed for that. All right, guys, it's been over an hour. Did you enjoy it? Did you get a little bit from it? I hope so. Hope to see you all on Sheep Farm on Thursday to talk about an in-depth talk about beautiful souls who were misunderstood and were thrown into psychiatric wards, which to me is a lot to do with anyway, I'll talk to you about it then. Hopefully you can join us there Thursday at 7 p.m. UK time. So I just want to say goodbye to everybody. I'm going to hopefully put this up onto YouTube. I hope I made a difference in your life a little bit today. Have joy and love And through all what I've said today, meditate on it, think about it. If any of it makes any sense to you and feels right and resonates, then work on that and improve your life. And you will. If none of it made any sense, then it's okay, because it's not part of what you need to know and it's not important. So you can read a book and one page can mean everything to you, and then read it again the following year and it means nothing to you. Does that make it wrong or right then? Or wrong or right after? It is what it is. Let us just enjoy the moment. And I'd like to send you all some love today. Thanks so much. Thank you. And if any of you want to continue this journey and want to really understand what healing truly is, then again, I'm going to say it because it's true. There is a great opportunity on pehacademy.com right now to take both courses for 404, and you also get a free crystal from me, free DHL worldwide delivery, a bottle of chosen oil, and a beautiful set of cleansing sticks. If you take both courses, that's my gift to you, and it's less than half price. So it's fantastic, guys. Bless you all. Enjoy it, and let me know what you feel about the course after you've taken both of them. It's it can change lives. It changed mine. All right, guys. Love you all. Take care. Bye. It's Sunday. I'm going to go and spend some time with Lily and my family. Bye. Take care. Love you. Love you all. Love you all. I'll be interviewing JCK on Tuesday, the 14th. So I will put that out on Tuesday as well. So that's something to look forward to. Take care. Bye for now. Bye, guys.